All right, so this is a suggestion via a channel member. Let's jump into it.
Colombia's military is building its presence along the border with Venezuela, the region preparing for what is to come after Venezuela's President Nicolás Maduro has been captured.
At this border crossing, there is one thing different today, the presence of Colombian military armored personnel carriers. They're here to make sure the situation remains.
Would Maduro be considered an illegal immigrant? What do you think? Let me know in the comments.
Stable after the weekend capture of Venezuelan leader Nicolás Maduro. Colombia is usually the first stop for Venezuelans fleeing the country, with more than 3 million now living here. If there's more violence inside Venezuela, here is where they're likely to come. So officials are bracing for a potential humanitarian crisis.
Colombia has engaged in measures to protect the civilian population and preserve the stability of the border.
The military is also on high alert following a suggestion from President Trump that Colombian President Gustavo Petro could be the next to go, accusing him of supporting drug traffickers.
He has cocaine mills and cocaine factories. He's not going to be doing it very well.
So there will be an operation by the U.S.
It sounds good to me.
Meanwhile, on the streets of Caracas, there has not been any sort of widespread violence, but we're seeing the start of what could be significant protests from Maduro's political party, calling for their former leader to come back.
We are here to support our president who was unjustly kidnapped by the empire.
And among those crossing the border today, there is real concern about what happens next.
It will be a slow change because apart from Maduro's capture, there was nothing else.
The flow of traffic across the border now is normal.
Guys, I don't think anything when I hear those things, right? Like, there are always supporters of terrible people, kind of regardless of whatever, ideology you're basically following or, anything. They're always supporters. Like, understand this here. In Spain, Franco was not too far off, specifically from the mustache man, right? And there are still people today, like right now in the south of Spain and the center of Spain, who openly support this man who was basically best friends for the most part with the mustache man from the 1940s, guys. Understand this here. Okay, that was him, right? WW2. Okay, so there are always going to be supporters of absolute terrible people. It is what it is here. Don't be surprised by this here, guys. Either way, let's continue.
But that could change if things go south in Venezuela.
What is this? Okay. Why is, bro? What is that terrible music, bro? Hold on. Okay. Yeah, I don't know, bro. He can say whatever he wants to say. Let's just be honest here. He can say whatever he wants to say here, guys. Okay. So that immediately absolves you of all the absolute crazy that you have done in your past? Do you think that's what that does? I think that's what he thinks it is, guys, right? Hold on. So what? Guys, I heard the Greenland conversation.
Venezuela has caused global concerns on which countries may be targeted next. Colombia and Greenland are calling for international laws to be respected.
Donald Trump's audacious military action in the skies above Venezuela has put the world on notice. This is a US president who continues to tear up the rule book of how the international system is run.
Who wrote the rule book?
And on Air Force One, he made clear Venezuela may only be the start.
No, we're in the business of having countries around us that are viable and successful, and where the oil is allowed to freely come out because that's good, it gets the prices down. That's good for our country.
The US president, it seems, with his navy still in the Caribbean, is signaling a return to 19th century gunboat diplomacy, a world in which the strong dominate the weak. In the Western Hemisphere, it means, according to Trump, that America has primacy. In this worldview, the White House has other countries in its sights, and the administration pumping out memes on social media that it's not a good time to disagree with the US.
Hey, bro, whoever is running all of the government social media right now, give them all a raise, guys. Like, have you seen the the Customs and Border Patrol Instagram, guys, go check that out if you haven't seen it. All right, look at the White House Instagram. Go for it. Wild, bro. Nothing but memes.
This was what Secretary of State Marco Rubio had to say about Cuba.
I don't think it's any mystery that we are not big fans of the Cuban regime, who, by the way, are the ones that were propping up Maduro.
Across the region, leaders are now asking alarmed questions about who might be next. Trump told reporters on Air Force One Colombia was run by a sick man who likes making cocaine and selling it to the United States. Mexico also doesn't escape. The US leader says drugs are pouring through the country and America is going to have to do something. And the semi-autonomous Danish territory Greenland was also highlighted. The US president has raised the prospect of annexation, citing its strategic location for defense and mineral wealth. At the United Nations, an institution built to prevent great power war, there was condemnation from countries that could be targeted.
Unilateral action is contrary to international law, endangers regional stability, increases insecurity and worsens the already complex conditions being faced by the civilian population.
The Danish Prime Minister also very concerned about where all this could be heading.
Firstly, I believe that the American president should be taken seriously when he says that he wants Greenland. But I also want to make it clear that if the United States chooses to attack another NATO country militarily, then everything stops.
With what's happened in Venezuela and the Trumpian worldview taking shape in dramatic fashion, it's clear the international system is heading in a new direction. What was taken for granted and was known as the rules-based order forged after the Second World War may now be returning to an era where might is right. Alex Rossi, Sky News.
Might is right.
There was a time back in 2016, and I remember your RNC speech, and you were saying that regime change and nation building.
Where?
When you were speaking at the RNC back in 2016, you were criticizing regime change and nation building, the U.S. being involved in that. It seems obviously that your stance has changed on that. What led to that? And is the U.S. nation building now? Is that
this isn't a country that's on the other side of the world. This isn't a country like where you have to travel 24 hours in an airplane. This is Venezuela. It's in our area, the Don Road Doctrine.
So is that what you would say, that we're in the business of nation building?
No, we're in the business of having countries around us that are viable and successful, and where the oil is allowed to freely come out because that's good. It gets the prices down. That's good for our country. Now, we have a very sick neighbor. It's not a neighbor, but it's close to a neighbor, and that's Venezuela. It's very sick. Colombia is very sick, too, run by a sick man who likes making cocaine and selling it to the United States. And he's not going to be doing it very long, let me tell you.
What does that mean? He's not going to be doing it very long.
He's not doing it very long. He has cocaine mills and cocaine factories. He's not going to be doing it very long.
So there will be an operation by the U.S. and...
She's not going to tell you.
Yeah. You know why? Because they kill a lot of people, yeah.
Secretary Rubio mentioned Cuba yesterday in his remarks. Does the U.S. have a plan to do...
Well, Cuba always survived because of Venezuela. Now they won't have that money coming in. They won't have the income coming in. You know, a lot of Cubans were killed yesterday. You know that. A lot of Cubans were killed.
Do you know how many?
The bodyguards. No, they're looking, but there was a lot of death on the other side. No death on our side, but there was a lot of death on the other side, unfortunately. But a lot of Cubans were killed yesterday, trying to protect him.
There's been protesters killed in Iran. You said we were locked and loaded, ready to go. What is the line there for when the U.S. is going to get involved in those protests?
We'll take a look. We're watching it very closely. If they start killing people like they have in the past, I think they're going to get hit very hard by the United States.
Can I say something? So when he first got elected in January, we met, biggest comeback ever. We talked about
you think so, really? I didn't feel it was a comeback, actually.
So,
because the first one was...
The bottom line is, we talked about a drug caliphate in our backyard. We had Venezuela, we have Cuba, we have Colombia, in our backyard. And these three countries have been condemned ever since I've been in politics. Joe Biden put a $25 billion bounty on Maduro's head. Chris Smith, today he got inaugurated, said, I hope Trump will hold Maduro's feet to the fire. You did. So what has he done? He's going to clear our backyard of a drug caliphate, countries run by narco-terrorist dictators who murder, rape, send drugs into our country to kill thousands of our citizens. To my Democratic friends, you should be celebrating this.
They're not going to.
When bin Laden went down, I was the first to applaud President Obama. This was one of the most sophisticated military operations in the history of the country. What they were able to do was amazing. They knew we were coming. We had a good part of the Navy, and they were able to capture this man alive. No military in the world could have done it. And as to this commander-in-chief, he did something people talked about doing.
But didn't
You
do.
just wait for Cuba. Cuba is a communist dictatorship that's killed priests and nuns. They've preyed on their own people. Their days are numbered. We're going to wake up one day, I hope in 26, in our backyard, we're going to have allies in these countries doing business with America, not narco-terrorist dictators killing Americans. This is a big frigging day. And everybody in the world is thinking differently than they were just a few days ago because of what you did.
Yeah, they're afraid. Like the response, like large scale from like a good amount of the countries that are around the world making comments specifically, or collective groups of countries at least, right? Their responses are pretty much the same here, guys. They're scared. They're like, we have to take what he's saying serious now because look at what he just did. How dare he do this thing, right? You get what I'm saying here, guys? So of course, the response is this here. Now, the whole idea of like gunboat diplomacy is intriguing because like, what do you want me to say to that? Right? Like, look, understand, I see both angles, specifically living in a country with a weaker military compared to the United States of America, and also being American and living in America, like half and half, right? So I see it. Trust me, I get it, bro. I get what they're saying. Everyone is like, oh no, we're living our lives, we're super patriotic and proud of our countries, but yet we're weak, right? Like, just understand this here. Almost everyone is weak because we spend so much money on our military. Obviously, our military is absolutely spectacular. Right? I mean, we have the ability to absolutely do gunboat diplomacy all around the world at all times of the day. But the problem is that, guys, we can't take on the whole world. Right? Like, I mean, if we're talking about like, one singular, country, a couple of them at a time, maybe. Right? But our track record isn't like absolutely amazing with that at times. Right? But just understand what I'm trying to say here. All right, we cannot take the world on all at once. It's like if every single country on the planet has decided that they hate us and they want to come at us, then things get terrible, bro. Things get terrible fast, right? So even though we played a gigantic hand, let's say, in creating the idea of international law by basically saying, hey, listen, guys, do what we say, not specifically what we do, while still maintaining obvious gunboat diplomacy based off our military, nuclear stockpile, et cetera, our might, right? It's interesting, but I do understand, again, why some of the smaller countries are absolutely scared for their lives right now, because we're pretty close to the United States of America, but yet we do not act like they act specifically, right? So are we next? I think that's the overall kind of point that some of these smaller countries are basically making here, guys, right? Guys, do you want to watch movies with me? I never actually thought to like promote it over here, guys, but if you guys do want to watch it, guys, we have hundreds of movies, and I mean hundreds of movies that we've reacted to. You guys can come watch them with me if you want to, along with many TV shows. Currently, we're working on the show Dexter, along with Vikings. And we have a lot of series that are already completed. But if you guys do want to watch it with me, the link is in the description. Everything's available at the second tier. But of course, if that's not your thing, guys, don't worry, right? Listen, like and subscribe.